Today is, or tonight, it is March 18th, 2015. And what I was just explaining was this one programming sequence of events that was used to, well, how it was explained to me when I was a kid. And first it was kind of explained as like, this is how you pick up a government, like a secret spy tip. But then later I was getting programmed, like electrocuted with the electrocution brace, and it was being practiced on me, and I was being forced to rehearse it, to have a response that went with it. So then it kind of became both things. It became like a suggestion and advice of something to do, and then I was also getting tortured to do it. And so, and it wasn't out of the ordinary because, for example, this will sound strange, but this is true. When I was in England, like Mike Middleton had me pretend to be a prostitute. He framed me. And I was getting babysat by Mike and Carol Middleton. Believe me, it's not like a big deal to know them. Because they did some really bad things to me. And I guess they just hated me right from the very start because, you know, why else would they have done the things they did to me? And at some point, and it just got worse and worse because when people started to antagonize me about Kate Middleton, and then I was saying things here and there about her, it just infuriated Mike. Well, infuriated both of them. Carol would pulled his eyes, and Mike would be calm and everything, and then all of a sudden just fly off the handle and, you know, get ready to strangle me on the neck. And so then one day I thought he was asking me to help him because occasionally they'd act nice, and he said that he wanted me to pretend to be a prostitute because the London police. I think he said London police, not MI5, but I knew he was familiar with the MI5 too. But he was saying to, telling me to, oh, and how did I get to Carolyn and Mike Middleton's house? Well, you know, that's another thing that the U.S. trafficked me to, and don't ask me how. I mean, I was there. And, it was by plane. We got there by plane, I can tell you that. And so he one day said that, and different people, I met some other royals and stuff, and every now and then they'd have me spy on a family member, do different things, like just different practice things here and there, and I was randomly helping various people do different spy things. I think they were just kind of checking it out, see what I did, and how I acted or reacted to different suggestions or ideas. So Mike asked me one day to pretend to be a prostitute because he said the London police wanted to catch some Johns or whatever. And so I was going to practice in this one room, and they were going to bring different men into the room, and I was supposed to practice and do a really good job and act like I was really soliciting sex as a minor. And then the Johns would put money on my table and everything, and then the London police would get it on record, and they could go in and arrest him. And so here I am thinking that this is like seriously, they're asking me to do this undercover work for them. Well, you know, being an undercover for government can be really messed up, because if the government doesn't spell it out, just a minute, Nanette, quit barking. If the government doesn't spell it out or write it into a contract or something, or make it very clear that you're an innocent person and you are actually undercover working for them, they can really screw you over. They can suddenly turn the tables on you and say that, oh, you're not working undercover. They had nothing to do with you. You're a criminal. You are exactly what everybody thinks you are. You're not putting on an act. You're just acting out your own fantasies or whatever. and that will lead you right to jail. And so he didn't tell me that he was setting me up. Obviously, Mike didn't. And so these guys, a couple of guys, and he said he was going to videotape it, and I was like, I was okay with that, because I thought, well, if he's going to videotape it secretly, maybe it's going to the London police, you know, and I'm helping out. So here I was, and I'm supposed to put on this really good act. So I was going all out, you know. I don't think anybody could have been able to tell at all that I was acting. I acted as naturally seductive as a child, Lolita-ish, and prostitute-like that I could imagine anyone would be. And flirting, you know, whatever. And so this guy comes into the room. I brought up all of the different ideas and negotiations and what did he want. And then, you know, okay, it's going to be about this much. If you want this, it'll be that much. And then having him, encouraging him to put where he put his money. So I didn't actually follow through with a sex act right then and there, but I led all the way up to it, and then I was getting ready to look like I was going to do it. And then I thought, then there's going to be the bust, and some guy comes in and whatever. Well, instead, what happened is the guys that Mike Middleton was bringing in to do the who were supposedly really looking for prostitution, they were cops already. They were like the London police themselves or something. And all of a sudden, here's this guy that I'm told that I'm supposed to pretend to seduce, and the guy said, "You're under arrest." I mean, like, I am not kidding. And I thought, okay, this is a joke. I look over at Mike, who's over standing by the doorway. And, I mean, why am I laughing? Because this is really sick. I mean, that they did this to a kid. I'm not even kidding how much they owe me. They owe me so bad. I'm scared. At first, just really confused. So I look over at the doorway, like, Mike? Huh? Is this part of, like, the sex that this guy wants? He wants to act out a handcuff scene? You're under arrest. Where's the whip? Because you didn't bring one. And I don't have one. Mike, you better get Carol, because I know she has one. So, anyway, it was crazy. It was really mean. And I went from 1 second being undercover cop helper to being a real entrapped, as in entrapment, child hooker. Did I just look like Lachlan? That's my aunt, and she makes that facial expression. Anyway, so this guy, I mean, I really was shocked at first and hoping that someone's going to help me out. Well, Mike's standing over in the doorway, and he didn't look happy. He looked like I don't know how to describe it. Kind of happy, but then hateful. Like he was really he's getting me. And I saw this look on his face, and I thought, oh my gosh. And kind of was waiting for it to play out, waiting for this cop guy to finish what he was like doing and quit pretending that he was going to arrest me. And he wasn't pretending. He really arrested me. And they brought in some other cops, and they told me that I was seriously under arrest. And they got handcuffs out. They were cops. They were in their uniforms. I think I recognized one of them. And then they brought out the statement. They said, we have this all on video, and we caught you trying to solicit. And you are either going to jail right now, or you're going to sign this confession, and we won't put you in jail. And they put this paper in front of me, and they forced me to sign a confession to say that, yes, I admit that I was soliciting sex to get money. And whatever. So they got this on their record, like on a record against me as a kid in London. And Mike Middleton set that up. He fully, start to finish, provided the room. You know, it was in his house from what I remember. And everything. The guys came in and did that, and then I'd signed this document. And then, you know, where's that document going? It's like a horrible smear on my name. And nobody ever turned around and said, oh, that was just a joke, or just pulling your leg. No, they were not joking. It was serious. So here I got set up by Mike Middleton. It's not the only thing that he did, or that they did. But when I was in the U.S., there were some cops also that had me working for them, like doing undercover stuff, and I really was helping with some people who I knew were undercover people who did that. And so at first I was kind of like really helping out a little bit, and then I realized I was getting, I was being told that, like, cop spy language or code stuff. Okay, if this guy comes up and says to go with him, no matter what you do, you go with him because he's going to act like he's soliciting something, but he'll give you some money and maybe tip on something that's important to you. And I needed money. I was trying to make it on my own independently, like trying to be emancipated from my parents, kind of, like just trying to get by. And so they were saying that on one hand, and then the other thing that they were doing is then they started, I was getting tortured, like literally, and they were experimenting with that. So they'd have me with my dad, and then they'd have some guy say, hey, come with me because blah, 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 and then they'd test me and have me leave my dad and have me run out of the car and go with this totally strange guy just because they said that this is what you should do in this situation. And they made me practice that over and over and over. And then I'd have several times they'd have a guy say, like even my dad say, no, don't go, please don't go, stay here, like as the driver of the car. Or we're walking to the car and about to get in, and then they'd have a guy say, go with me or whatever. So here I was getting conditioned repeatedly to reject my parents or my people that would be what I would think of as safe people, and to leave them and go with some strange guy that looks like he's soliciting sex. And so I practiced, they forced me to practice that several times, like tons of times. And most of the time it was in Coos Bay. I don't remember it really being practiced a lot of other places. That's where they would make me do that most. And then a couple of times I was getting electrocuted with the head brace, and they were telling me to do that. So it was kind of like a hypnosis thing plus the electrocution of the head brace. And then I was being, they were testing me on it and making me run out and do this all the time and practice it. So when they made me practice it, there's programming where they just drill it into your head over and over and over and over and over, and they torture you. And then there's also, sometimes they would make me practice like I was rehearsing for a play, but they would make me practice over and over and over until it was conditioned. And when they did that, in addition to the programming, basically it just made it even more of a firm response that I would have, like just subconsciously. I didn't even think about it anymore. So anyway, like I said, they had me practice that with my dad. Like we're walking to a car, and then some guy says, go with me, and my dad's like, no, don't. And I'd run out and go with this other guy because that's what they told me to do, and they'd make me practice that. So then I'm at Jenny's Shoes, and this is taking a long time to get to that, but I did have to bring up that Middleton thing.